Hey everybody, welcome to Kennesaw State's Facebook Live Ask Admissions with our care services. I'm really excited about this. Guys, just so you know, it's been a long time. I've actually never physically met Marcy, but we have been talking for years now. So I'm really excited to have you guys on screen with us today. Of course, I'm Jacinta Lester. I am the manager of admissions for special populations. I will have my guests introduce themselves, and then we're going to do some news from the nest. We will have you guys ask questions because we really want you to do that. And then, of course, we're going to chit chat with Marcy and her team about care services. So, Marcy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Marcy Stidham. I'm the founder and director of Care Services.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Olson, and I am the program coordinator for KSU Cares.
Awesome. So we're going to get into some questions with them just to talk about what they offer for our students and just some amazing things that they're doing with care. So some news from the nest. Once again, Jordan's not here, so I get to do it. And so the fun thing is that our fall deadline for applications has closed, but we still have time for our transfer students, our non-trads, our transfer freshman students to go ahead and submit their final transcripts to KSU. So your deadline is June 26th. Make sure that you put that in your phone. Of course, you don't want to wait until that time because you want to be able to sign up for orientation, get some of those next steps in, but just know our final deadline for fall 2020 to accept documents for our non-traditional transfer students, our transient students, will be June 26th. So put that on your calendar because that's next week. Other things that are coming up for our students is our application for spring 2021 is already open, which is a mouthful to say. So spring 2021 is open, summer 2021 is open, which is crazy, but that is open for our students who are thinking about coming to KSU. Maybe you decide to take a semester off, maybe you are working and then you decide to come to KSU. So there are opportunities for you to apply mid-year to Kennesaw State University. Other things we want to talk to you guys about is our virtual tour and our info sessions. So right now the campus is still closed for students to take classes. They're all virtual during the summer, but we will be back in the fall, which is really exciting for our students. But if you want to take a campus tour with KSU, we encourage you to go on to our virtual tour. It's like no other virtual tour that you'll ever see. It's one of the best, so make sure that you can, we'll have it linked down below, our virtual tour, but go ahead, look at that. And then if you still want to see campus, it is open for you to walk around, grab a map, which you can download offline, and come walk around our beautiful campus. We have a Kennesaw campus and we have our Marietta campus. So if you are interested in STEM fields, specifically in engineering, architecture, some computer science programs, that will be down at Marietta. And then of course, if you're interested in more of our business school, nursing, more of our holistic areas of study, then come up to the Kennesaw campus and tour and walk around our beautiful campuses and get ready for the fall, which is really exciting for our students. Info sessions, our transfer team has been hitting it out of the park. They have been hosting sessions all throughout the summer. So if you're a transfer student and you have more questions about what the transfer process looks like for you, then we definitely encourage you to sign up for one of our info sessions, and then in the future, we'll be offering some additional info sessions for our student types as we get closer to fall. But for right now, it's our transfer team. So just keep going back to our visit webpage, our admissions webpage. Another thing about our virtual tour, it will link you to our admissions homepage. So if you need to know what does it take to become a KSU freshman or a transfer student or a non-trad, all of that will be on our admissions website, and we can link that down there as well. If you've been accepted, congratulations. We're really excited that you guys are coming to KSU in the fall. This has been a very interesting 6 months in 2020, but we're so excited that you decided to spend your time here at KSU and get your education with us. So if you've been accepted and you haven't done those next steps would be signing up for orientation, making sure that you have all of that together. Our orientations this year are going to be virtual throughout the summer, but that doesn't mean that you won't be ready for fall for our students. So make sure that you sign up for your orientation. If you've got housing, getting ready to move in, if you haven't done your FAFSA, make sure you do that. It's not too late. The deadline's July 1st. You've got plenty of time to go ahead and submit that to us. So that's really important for our students. So make sure you're doing those next steps. When you were accepted, you received your acceptance letter, and then you also received a really nice pamphlet with next steps. So make sure you're going through those. You can also see those on your AliExpress account as well. So if you're confused, like, what do I need to do? Make sure that you're using those resources when you're looking at your next things for KSU for fall 2020. Other things, once again, file your FAFSA. July 1st is for our students, so make sure you do that for fall 2020 and 2021 year. You don't want to miss out on money. Nobody wants to pay full price for school. So make sure you do that. Make sure you file your FAFSA. We want you guys to get the opportunity for that. And then also our financial aid office is on this Facebook Live. So if you have questions about financial aid, they're more than happy to answer those questions for you as well. Also on June 22nd, our orientation is going to have a live at 2 p.m. So make sure that if you still have questions about orientation, that you log in on Facebook and watch their orientation session. Obviously, we want you to already be signed up for orientation, but if you still have questions, they have also an Ask Orientation live on June 22nd. So make sure you do that. You can also see that on their orientation website. So make sure that you are doing all of those things. All right. I think I'm done. I'm done with News from the Nest, but we're not done with Facebook Live. So let's get started with just Marcy and Carrie. Can you tell everyone in Facebook land, what is CARE?
Sure. So CARE was a program that we started about 9 years ago now. We had a student show up when I was in the counseling center. And Carrie was an MSW student here at Kennesaw State. And we had a student who showed up who was homeless on campus. And her nickname was Penelope. And that was our first student. She was found sleeping in different places on campus, largely over in housing, but going to class every day. But it was coming very apparent after classes were done, she didn't have a place to stay. So Penelope was our first student. So we didn't plan to start a CARE program, but because of Penelope, now we have served well over 2,000 students at Kennesaw State. We're a nationally recognized program that helps homeless, foster care, and food insecure students. So what that means is there are students in high school right now who have experienced homelessness or have been in foster care or are in foster care. And those students are the students we target and serve for our KSU Cares program. But then also we're the home of the campus pantry. So in the pantry is for any KSU student. We've had that program since 2006. And so over the years, it became a part of our program as Care Services developed. And what we have done is, as we expanded to the Marietta campus, we have 2 pantries. And so we have 2 pantries, one on each campus. They're for any KSU student to shop once a month. But if you work with Carrie's wonderful case management students who are from, case management interns who are from our Masters of Social Work program, they work diligently and work with a cohort of students who need a little bit more than just food. And so usually those are students who we've recruited from high schools. Those are students who have found us through different referrals, and they work with them one-on-one and come up with a plan. Also, we do a lot of cool things where we provide rental assistance. Sometimes we have to do hotel stays for students. Also, we do temporary apartment stays. So we have, on both of our campuses, we have our own campus apartment. So that way we can house students in an emergency situation if they need to. But again, all these services are purely for students who we have qualified as homeless or foster care, as well as maybe severely food insecure. So we enjoy working with our students because a lot of our students come from very humble beginnings. Some of them come to campus with, we become their family. We're their family, and so we're happy to support them. We also provide other supports to all our KSU students through our emergency assistance program. So we've kind of expanded over some time, and so our emergency assistance program is for students when they're having an emergency need. They can reach out to us, and sometimes we find homeless students who we put in our KSU Cares program, but then sometimes they just need a one help assistance with an emergency, house burned. They may have had a death in the family, broken car. So we look for what resources there are, either financial or community resources. And then we do a lot of other cool things through care services. I think our greatest thing that we're so excited about, we're working with admissions, is that recruitment process. That's how we work together so much with all the students who are, coming in, trying to figure out what do I do, and navigating the admissions process. If you don't reach out to the counselors here through admissions, they do such a great job. Jacinta has been so helpful to our students as they come in from high school and make that transition into college. And then once they're in, we work with them to make sure that, that FAFSA is completed the right way, that they're taking the classes and finding that balance, but then know of all the resources and scholarships that are open to them.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so glad I get to work with you guys. It's so wonderful because it is nice to have someone that students they know, like, this is the person that I'm going to go to, and they're going to be able to, like, help me through. Every student needs that, but especially if a student doesn't have someone at home or have people in their lives that can really help them get to that place, especially college, because that's a scary place to be. In high school, you kind of have that built-in system that kind of helps navigate, but once you're in college, they say, okay, like, you figure it out. So it's nice to be able to have an organization or a department on campus that will help students transition and continue throughout, so that they feel like I can just worry about being a good student. And not all these other different pieces. Yeah,
it's such a privilege just to focus on being a student. So many times our students have worked 2 or 3 jobs, been in and out of homelessness throughout high school. So they see college as a refuge of getting out of poverty, but also as hopefully a chance to breathe. And so we try to make that moment to breathe and just be a student happen for them. It's really tough.
Yeah, sometimes coming to KSU, that's the first stable housing that they've really had. So we have that with students where that's really the first time that they felt like they could unpack, like they had a home. So that's something that's really important for us to try and help our students find, so that they can just be college students and do all the fun things that being a college student implies.
Yeah, we have one student who we were able to, and he has recently his video has been up on our webpage, and I think it's on our Facebook page as well, but Thaddeus, did a thank you because he was our first recipient of a scholarship where he got a full ride for his freshman year. So his whole freshman year, he didn't have to worry about anything. And he got a little bit of a refund, and he was so proud of his shirt that he got from the bookstore. We got all of his move-in needs adopted. And we do that for our students. When we recruit them in, we get them adopted. So we're in our adopt a student season right now. And so we've got about 7, I think. 5 to 7 students on our adoption list right now. And so people are actively adopting them. So we're excited about it. So he got all that. And he was one of those students who didn't feel safe to go to sleep because you're waiting for the knock in the morning to kick you out. And so that's gone.
That's awesome. That's really good. Awesome. So can you guys give a little bit, I know we started out, but can you talk a little bit about how you got to where you are? So kind of your background and why you chose to, I know you talked about, Penelope, but kind of why you chose this field specifically.
So I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker for over 20 years. So, and as a social worker, you look to help people who have been disenfranchised or those social justice or injustice issues. So all of my 20 years, since I've had those masters in social work for 20 years, I have always worked with people who come from low incomes. And so that's just been my passion. But it's changed and it's ebbed and flowed in different ways. But when I was here, I was in the counseling center as the associate director of counseling and overseeing our case management program. So that's how we found Penelope. What made me say somebody needs to do something was I kept calling other colleges and saying, what do you all do for homeless students? What do you do? And I'll never forget, and by that time Carrie was my intern, she saw me the day when I was like, I just want to say I care because somebody needs to care. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that was the name. So then I had to figure out what the C, the A, the R, and the E were going to mean. But I just knew I wanted to say I care. But I think what happened was I was so frustrated, I put the phone down and I just said, well, I'm a social worker. So we just do things and we just make it work and we fix things like this. And so just started with her and about 15 more students came. So it really was that decision of just frustration. And then I finally found one program in Oregon, at Oregon State University. And at that time, their founder of that program was Claire. And so I had Claire. And so I had this person that I finally, now we have met, but years, knew each other, never seen each other, but we have met and have gone to conferences together. But I had Claire, and I said, okay, Claire, take me to school. Tell me what's going on. What did you do? And some of the things I liked, some things I did different. And then we just kept working with students and working with people. So that's a little bit of my background, just, and then how we got to this point. So, but we really were, and CARE really is cutting edge. A lot of things we did were the first, like the campus apartments. We were the first university to have campus apartments dedicated to homeless students within a university. Some had them external to the university and were created by alumni, but it hadn't been done actively by the university within the means of the university. And so, that's fun and that's great, but it's hard because you're always figuring it out. But that's kind of where we are, and so now we're teaching other schools. This academic year alone, I've already talked to over 100 schools in private sessions with them to train them on how to replicate what we do. And so, but it's really a blessing. It's an honor. And even on the days that you're frustrated or you're tired, you get a thank you note. Like the first day I came, when we returned back to campus, there was a little note on my desk. And it was a student who had been in her life since the day she started to the day she graduated. And she started out needing the pantry, living off the pantry, ended up being one of my interns and being an example. And now she's graduated. So that's the cool thing. You want to tell your...
Yeah. So when I graduated my undergraduate, I was recruited by Teach for America. So that's where I started and spent a few years working with Atlanta Public Schools. And that's where I got really passionate about educational equity. And so through that shifted to social work because it is like we're the ones that help and fix. And so found social work and just got lucky that I got placed with Marcy and found out that I could, do educational equity and social work at the same time. And so I came on as her intern. I made her keep me my second year as intern.
And then she just kept coming back.
And then I graduated and I made her hire me. And then she moved to her own department and then I made her hire me again. So I've just been following Marcy at KSU because these students are amazing, and they're just so fantastic to work with. And so for us, it's really about eliminating the barriers that, you know, they're almost always they're in a situation that they did not choose, that they, you know, happened to them, not because of them. And so for us, it's really about like, what can we do to take that away? So what can we do to remove the hurdles and just let you do what you're supposed to do? Because once we do, we watch like GPAs jump through the roof. You know, we had a mechanical engineer who was doing fine. I mean, I think he had like a 3.2 while he was sleeping in his car for an entire semester. So imagine taking mechanical engineering classes.
And came in with like 2 times as many dual enrollment credit hours as the average, as most students. He came in almost as a junior. Out of high school.
But he, so making like a 3.2 while he was sleeping in his car, we were able to, you know, get him into on-campus housing, and he made like a 3.98 the next semester, because it was like, just, you know, if I can just do what I'm supposed to do, and he just killed it. And now he's off making 6 figures, doing amazing things as a mechanical engineer. So
those are
the
things you want to hear. Those are like the successes you want to tout and say, like, you can do it.
You can do it. It's so. I mean, it's hard. Like, we're not going to lie that, you know, it's tough. But we have so many students who are just doing amazing things. We have a student who's getting ready to go to med school. We have another student right now who's about to apply to graduate programs at Johns Hopkins and Cambridge, and I mean, just insane, in this crazy field that I've never even heard of. She's teaching me so much. But
I can't. It's biology.
I don't even know.
Quite,
like
we're social workers.
Yeah, right. I know. She starts telling me her classes. I'm like, I don't even know that's a thing.
And then the engineering students go, and I'm mechatronics, and I'm like, now I can tell you what that means, but I don't know.
Yeah, like I took statistics.
But they're so fun, and we're so proud of them. You know, we're the ones that cheer them on, but also, you know, have the tough talks. We're their, you know, we're their lifeline, and especially the ones that come in as a freshman that link up with us. Those are the ones we walk with all the way to graduation. So the ones we're talking about were with us because of great partnership with, especially our partnership. A lot of the kids that you've jumped in and said, fix this, oh, here's the appeal, you know, different things. And then we're walking with them. And then once we got them, we start running. And then, you know, shout out to financial aid. Just last night, financial aid helped change one of our students, you know, lives just with a little bit of help. And you know, the sweet email we got back was like, I promise you, I'm doing great in my classes, but I'm gonna go even harder. You know, they just want to, they're so appreciative.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got some questions coming in, so we want to answer those as well. All right,
awesome.
Rachel.
So first, along the line of housing, living on or off campus, we have a question about, if you live on campus, are you required to take in-person classes? Are there online options? And then if students are still figuring out if they're going to be on campus or not, do they have to take online classes, or can they also come to campus?
So for fall, we will be back on campus. So if you are living on or off the Kennesaw or Marietta campus, you can choose if you want to do a hybrid class, face-to-face, online. There's options that are available to you as a student. So you really kind of have to figure that out with your schedule. So are you a working student? You know, do you need to work in the morning and then in the afternoon you do your classes? Because we offer classes all throughout the day, especially if they're face-to-face. So just making sure that you are looking at your schedule, and then of course making sure that it aligns with the classes that you need to take for your specific major, especially if it's gen ed. Those are going to be a little bit more readily available, but as you get into your major, just kind of figuring out what that looks like. And then also sitting down with your academic advisor, if you're going to be going between 2 campuses, all of those things come into play. But there's a shuttle system for students who are trying to get back and forth, so you've got some options there.
And then speaking of fall classes, do we know if we will be back in person for fall?
We will be back in person in the fall for our students.
Yay!
I know, yay! We miss our students.
And then switching gears a little bit to working on campus for students involved with care, are there opportunities to help get them plugged into on-campus jobs? And then just in general for our students, how can they work with career planning to get involved on campus working?
You want to do the latter part? The
Yeah.
more general-
So if you are, like for career planning and development, of course, they're usually here on there, but if you are interested in internships and co-ops, our career planning services, they work with our students to prepare them. We've been doing some virtual career fairs throughout the summer for our current students, so to get involved with that. But then once you're here and you're in your major, of course, you'll work with them. They'll help you with resumes, they'll help you with interview questions or processes. They will record you, all of those things, just to get you prepared for that other side of graduation. As my marketing professor, Professor Stewart, would say, we're getting you to that other side. So that's what our career planning and development will do for our students.
And I'll talk about how we accept students to work with us, and then Carrie can talk about how we help our students who work with us from a care perspective get a job. So our program, while we are an independent department, we have majority of our staff are students. So there's internship opportunities, anywhere from probably 10 to 15 internship opportunities available with us at any given time. And then also we have federal work study students. So if you qualify for federal work study, we have now 7 federal work study positions within care services. And 5 of those positions are assigned to our pantry. And those students run the 2 pantries on campus. And then I have one assigned to me to help me with all my craziness and different things like that. So a lot of times students who don't need our services work with us because they have wonderful hearts, wonderful people who are willing to get in there and get great resume building experiences.
And so, selfish plug, we're hiring 3 positions right now.
Yes.
So we're on handshake.
Work
We need 3 federal work study positions for the fall. But for our actual care students, that's where case management comes into place. And so my MSW interns are trained to work with the students one-on-one. And so we look at your resume and do you need to go to career development and get it tweaked, or and make the connections. But then we also have some really great partners on campus. So we work very closely with the Federal Work Study Coordinator, and Damani is fantastic, and I can email her and she can tell me, hey, kind of like insider tip that there's positions available in this department, and so point your students towards that. And then we also, we have a great partnership with Campus Services, and so we've got friends over there that will say, we've got 15 students who are unemployed right now, where can we plug them in? So that's where case management is really important, for that one-on-one work with individual students to see, what is it that you need, and how can we plug you in with the resources that we have and that we know about.
Yeah, and when we plug them in with those resources, we always say we can't promise you're going to get these jobs, but what we can promise you is you've got a team of support behind you to help you find as many job opportunities on and off campus as possible. We also utilize a lot of our care students. Sometimes they do have 2 jobs. So they may have an on-campus student assistant or federal work study job. So there's 2 types of student jobs on campus. But then they also may have an off-campus jobs. And so a lot of places have the work today, pay tomorrow options. And so that works really well for our students. So we also look at those opportunities, and we've helped some of our students find internship opportunities through our donors and our campus partners in the community.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just to shift gears and just kind of talk back about like the fall semester and kind of what that's going to look like for our students going to be on campus. Like I said, our summer term right now is fully online for our students, but then as the fall transitions and we're looking at that and returning to campus possibly for the fall, is each institution is looking at that and planning for those classes. So just be making, as a student for fall, just make sure that you're looking about like those updates and those changes for fall 2020. So those are things to be thinking about. I was on your website and I was looking and I had some other questions. One of the things that I saw that you guys had was Gear Up.
Oh.
And so I was wondering, like, can you explain what that is? I know there's a video that students can watch, but can you guys talk more about what that is?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, CARE has expanded. So we're CARE Services. Under that umbrella is KSU Cares and Emergency Assistance. Both of those programs carry overseas. And the other two programs I didn't mention were AmeriCorps Vista and Gear Up. So Gear Up is a federal Department of Education grant that we are a subawardee of through Board of Regents. The Board of Regents oversees all universities in the state of Georgia. That's usually what I say, or colleges and the technical schools. And so through Board of Regents, they, again, because of our reputation with CARE Services and different things, gave us a yet another cutting edge opportunity to support high schoolers who are homeless in foster care. So we're the only program of this nature in the country. Our one partner is at Wichita State, and they support foster youth. So, and we were lucky to, before all this happened, to be able to present with them at a conference recently in Florida. But what we have done is we have crafted this program. Like I said, it's 100% grant funded, so we have staff and we have student interns, and we serve right now 7 counties in Georgia, and we're talking to one more county, so hopefully we'll be the 8 counties by December. And the goal is to serve 1,000 students across the state who are homeless in foster care. So what Gear Up does is make sure that students have improved their college access and awareness. And then what we do within that idea is to make sure they do complete their FAFSA. So we're talking to them about FAFSA and FAFSA Forecaster, so they can get an idea what their FAFSA may look like once they fill out their application. We're making sure they go on college tours. And right now we're doing those virtuals through UVisit. We have partnerships with Princeton Review, and so they can have 24/7 mentor opportunities virtually, as well as tutoring services with our Student Success Academy. So there's a lot of the different opportunities that we're providing to these currently enrolled high school students who are homeless and in foster care. And so we have students who intern with us, and we call them accountability partners, and they really help them because it's a lot. First of all, you're trying to graduate, you're worried about all the things that come along with that. You're trying to take your classes, you probably have a job. If you're in foster care, you might get moved around, and your access to the internet may be sketchy for either population, home or foster care. Our accountability partners are there to just kind of help them keep up with all the hurdles, help them keep them organized, just help them stay accountable to what the ultimate goal is, getting to college, and be able to do like our students are doing here at KSU to achieve their dreams of, being stable, safely housed, and be able to start to focus on what their dreams are, not just how to survive. So Gear Up is a great opportunity where we're doing all those cool things. And so we've actually had, this year we would have had it, but last year we had a camp on campus, and all our Gear Up students were here. So we had homeless and foster care kids here on campus, and we teach them all cool things, but and all these things they need to know, but we also have engaged them in a lot of fun activities. So that's just one of those cool programs that we've been honored to do. We're in our 5th year, and a 7-year grant, and it's been my honor to provide the oversight for that grant.
That's awesome. All right, we got some questions coming in.
All right, so we have a question for Jacinta about admission. So
All right.
if I'm a transfer student and I want to come to Kennesaw, can you please talk about what I need to become a transfer student and when I'd want to apply?
So as I said before, our fall application for fall 2020 has passed. So our next available term for a student to come in will be spring of 2021. So the application is already open. The deadline will be November 1st for you. And then of course you'll submit your supporting documents. But as a full transfer student, meaning that you have been in college and you've completed 30 or more transferable semester hours, you have a college GPA of a 2.0 or higher, that is what is considered a full transfer student. If a student needs to know exactly, well, I think I have 30 hours, but I'm not sure, we have a great transfer articulation where students can go. If you go to transfer.kennesaw.edu, to the left it'll say what transfers, and you can pick the state that you're transferring from, the school that you're transferring from, and you just want to make sure that you have 30 hours that fully transfer over to KSU. So the course that you took, like English 1101 at your previous institution, that'll transfer over as English 1101 at our institution. It may look like a different name, but you want to make sure that they're the same. So we look at 30 or more with a 2.0, and I always tell my transfer students, make sure that if you're looking at like nursing or business or any of the programs that are gated, that you have a strong GPA when you transfer in. So the 2.0 gets you through the door. It doesn't guarantee acceptance to certain programs, and we want to keep you on track to graduate in a timely manner, especially as a transfer student. I was a transfer student myself, and I was a part of, I did business, and so I knew that I had to have a certain GPA to get into the business school. So while I was at my previous institution, I made sure I took the classes that I needed to get into the business school, and also to get the GPA requirement for business so that I wasn't having to retake classes, and that I could graduate on time. So those are just some things as a transfer student you want to be aware of. We also have a fantastic transfer team. Shout out to Nicole and Natasha, who were on Facebook Live last week, and they talked about transfer. So if you want to learn more about that, go back to previous Facebook Live and watch that. But then of course we also have other people on our transfer team that are more than happy to talk to you about the transfer process, and always feel free to reach out to them.
Awesome. So then we also have a shout out for KSU Cares. Julie says your program sounds absolutely amazing, and thank you for helping those in need. So hooty hoo to you all. And then I want to follow that up with a question. Melissa asked, are there ways that people in the community can assist or donate to CARE?
Yeah, so also CARE largely functions as a nonprofit. So most of the things that we do, all that, like those cool apartments I talked about, all donor funds. So yes, there are a lot of ways. We are set up through our Kennesaw State University Foundation. And so you can go to, right now you can go to care.kennesaw.edu, and the first thing you'll see is adopt a student. That's a great way to get started. You can click there, and the cool thing is you can see their Amazon wishes. We go on there and develop their wish list, and basically they go on there, and the donors can go on there and just pick what items you feel fits within your budget to be able to donate to our students. And those are exactly the items our students have self-selected and added to that list. We also offer opportunities for faculty and staff to be able to give us recurring gifts. Also, community members can give recurring gifts. So there's a lot of ways to give. Right now we're not accepting food donations. We usually accept those, and we're very sad about that. But we want to be very cautious and follow all the CDC guidelines. And because of CDC rules, it's much simpler to be able to take those donated funds and go to the Atlanta Community Food Bank, which is one of our partners, and shop there, because they have everything. They make sure everything is packaged and set up for the CDC guidelines for donated food. And then also food that we can go maybe to like Costco or Walmart, a different place like that, and purchase. It's simpler that way. But we'll be so happy when we're able to start having neighborhood food drives, and we've got a fierce golf club team, a ladies golf club team. They like to pick an item and donate an item. So they'll say, what do you need? We'll say, we're out of pasta sauce. And they'll give us
800 pasta sauces.
A ton of pasta sauce. And it's really cool. So yeah, and we've had even really cool events and different opportunities that way in the community. So there's a lot of ways to partner with us, but I will tell you, go to care.kennesaw.edu and you can immediately adopt a student's wishes. And if anybody wants to, they can also adopt a student for the year and help with their rent. We have a new program called Ascend, and our Ascend students are the students that we work with Jacinta on, and they are new to KSU. They're coming in from high school. It's those 7 students that are on that wish list. Those are our Ascend students. And we actually this year have been, in our partnership with Campus Housing, we'll have our own Ascend house on the Marietta campus. We're so excited.
We're so excited.
We're so excited. And we're gonna spoil them because that's just what I like to do. And you know, we're gonna make sure it's comfortable, wonderful. It's a 12-bed house. And we're going to provide them a lot of resources and support and programming, but also have it set up in communal living style. So there will be a chore chart, but there'll also be family dinner. And that house will be our mini pantry. So what that means is we have one of our students who would have been an Ascend student if we had this program last year. She's going to live in the house as a community manager. And she's going to be one of those federal work study students. And her job is to make sure to keep our mini pantry stocked and make sure everything goes well in the house. And so we're so excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And let me just
excited.
adopt a student is I think the coolest thing that we do. You know, you think about, you know, when you moved into college and how fun it was to set up your first room, you know, whether you were on campus or off campus, but to set up your first space and pick out your bedding and your color, you know, the color scheme. Mine was teal and lime green. But, you know, like, which is hilarious now.
Because now it's gold.
Because now it's black and gold.
It really is.
It really is white and gold all the time and black. But, you know, for a lot of our students who are coming from high school, you know, have been homeless or foster care, they might not have those resources, right? So they might be getting, you know, they have bedding, but it's bedding that somebody gave them and it's not necessarily what they would have picked out for themselves. So the Amazon wish list is a chance for them to really go and pick, you know, I tell them, you know, pick what you need, but pick some fun stuff too. You know, pick just the cute decorative things that you want on your wall that would be a splurge maybe for you, or that wouldn't even like be something that you would normally consider. And then what we do, the part that I love is that we go and we set that up before they move in, so that when they come on move-in day or move-in days this year, you know, we've already got their stuff in their room waiting for them so they can, you know, set it up and make it cute and fun and homey. I think it's going to be even cooler now being in a house all together, that they'll have that experience. But I think it's one of the more meaningful things that we do. And so as a community member, like, this is a really great way to give to students so that they have the fun first start at KSU and feel really homey and really connected. Last year, I think we had 6 or 7 students got a laptop from the adoption. So they were able to start this semester with the technology that they needed to be successful. Otherwise, you know, they would have been borrowing, or they would have, you know, been in the library borrowing desktops, and you know, they make it work, but it's not as easy, and it's not the same as what a lot of the other students are having to do or getting to do.
And it was so amazing when we've been doing the adoption drives now, probably in our 5th year now. And then we have 3 times that we do, well, 3 reasons we do an adoption drive. Graduation, fall move-in, and holidays. And it is, and I love the adoption drive, but it is the funniest thing when you have somebody who's 20-something years old standing over you and going like, "Here's my Santa list, Miss Marcy." And you know, I love it because sure, you have a Santa list at 22. But I love working. I love it, and it's the most precious thing. And I think it will be different this year. And just one more tidbit: we're going to start having community volunteers. Of community volunteers program. Carrie's got we've put out our save the date. So if you go on our website, there's a way to join our listserv. So you can learn more about CARE. And so just, you know, so you either click the button and put your name in to join a listserv, or send an email to careservices@kennesaw.edu. and we'll add you to our listserv. And so we're adding people all the time. Or let us know, hey, I want to be one of those volunteers. We're gonna train you. We're gonna background check you. We're gonna do all the things. But then this will be our team. These will be our people who will be there on that day when we move the kids into the Ascend House this year. And they will be the fill-in moms and dads for our students, and help decorate those rooms and help unpack the boxes of the adopted wishes. And then there'll be our people who will have come and deliver the Christmas gifts. Those people, we want to train a group of people to help us, because like I said, our staff is a staff of full-time employees, 4. But when we get in a room, it's 20 of us sitting there, because I have volunteers and I have student workers and student interns, and we make this happen together. So we're so excited about having this volunteer team, and we're ready to start training people. So come and join us.
That's great. For a student who may be homeless or they're in foster care, and how do they reach out to you guys to say, I need this assistance? Are there applications? Are there, do they have to fill anything out? What does that process look like for that student?
It's a bunch of ways. We've had other students literally hand walk their friend to my office and say, Miss Marcy took care of me. They need help too. Tell them, Miss Marcy. So it's kind of all kind of ways. So it really is at the level of the student. Now to start the case management that we do try to have them schedule an appointment through our online system. It's on our, when you go to our website, you'll see again care.kennesaw.edu, click KSU Cares, and right there it'll say how to schedule an appointment. And it's real simple, and everything is virtual, because most of our students schedule these appointments for case management at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm asleep, but they're not, so go for it. And they can be able to put themselves into an appointment slot. But the other thing is, a lot of our students find us through the pantry. They shop 2 or 3 times, and then that's how they get their services. But I will say, literally before I walked over here, that I was emailing back and forth with a high school teacher who is advocating for their student right now, and worried about that student. And but the student was nervous about getting on our online system for a case management appointment. And I said, okay, give me the name, give me the phone number, give me the email, give me the phone number. And then I said, Megan, who's our case manager this summer, and I said, go. And so she already emailed me back. She said, I've reached out to him, waiting on him. So we have a lot of school social workers from the high schools and guidance counselors from the high schools who have referred to us. We've got several schools, like Grady County High School was really big this year for us. And we were so excited that we have several other students coming and to KSU this year. So it's a variety of ways. The police department.
Yeah,
our campus police.
So for the incoming students, the easiest thing is the email. So email careservices@kennesaw.edu. I think there's 9 of us that watch that email right now. So we're shooting it to the right person. But for Ascend, now that we're kind of making this a formalized program, we do have an application for that, because we're going to have a bridge program this year. So we are planning the week before classes start a week full of events for our students. That's really to help that transition. So again, some of it will be about, do you understand your financial aid and did you file it right? Because we've seen, a lot of our students miss something and don't check it right, so they're not getting all the aid that they're supposed to be getting, which, like you talked about. We're partnering with Career to do some assessments, so that, are you in the right major? Is this something that you're going to be good at and that you're going to enjoy doing? Or is it just something that you picked because you didn't really know what? And let's figure that out while you're a freshman instead of when you're a senior and you have to start back over again. But then we're also going to be doing some really fun stuff. We're making adjustments for that right now about what that's going to look like, but we've got some cool activities, like a cooking class we're going to do.
the Work Done
with
Foundation.
Work Done Charities.
Yeah, Work Done Charities is gonna work with us on the food, teaching them how to cook their meals, which is perfect because you're gonna be living in a house where everybody's got to cook.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to do some foundational stuff like that. So there is an application for that. It's on our website, but that's the Ascend application. And then there's also the application to live in the house. So there's an Ascend LLC application. And so, but all of that's on our website, and they can find that there.
Because we know everybody who wants to be a part of Ascend may not want to live in the house.
Right.
Or we may have, which is a good problem to have, give me that problem, too many people who want to live in the house, and the room in the house is full. But that doesn't mean we're not going to work with campus housing to advocate for our students to be able to find good, great housing on campus and still include them in our Ascend activities.
And I think you mentioned this before. You guys are on both campuses, correct? So students, if you're an engineering major and you're doing mechatronics, or if you are a student that's on the Kennesaw campus and you're in human services, there's opportunity for you to be able to go to both campuses and get the services that you need. So that's always
case managers on both campuses. Our Marietta campus, one of our goals is that we want to get it to be where it's open 5 days a week. But we make sure that our students know when we're open and when we're not. But that's a goal over the next year or so to make sure it's open. So, but we just, the more and more Marietta students we have, the more and more demand we have, the more and more we're just going to meet that need. Yeah.
And where are you on both campuses, just for students to kind of have an idea of like general?
That is such a hard and complex question.
Sorry.
But it's all for good reasons.
Yes.
Now, so for the Marietta campus, we're in the student center on the first floor. I always tell students this will mean something when you become a student on the campus. Down the hall from Chick-fil-A.
There
It
you
means
go.
something.
Important.
There's only one hall.
Just follow the smell.
I know. There's only one hall, and we're down the hall from Chick-fil-A in the student center. That means something on Marietta campus. So that is where we're easy to find. So Kennesaw campus, we are happy to announce that we will be moving. Yes. Currently, we're in University College, Willingham Hall. So we're kind of in both of those buildings. But we're in the process of moving. So hopefully by the first day of classes, we will be.
Cross all the fingers.
I know, light some candles, say some prayers, But we'll be in the student center on the Kennesaw campus as well. Again, on the first floor, down the hall, right beside the university rooms. Again, once you get on campus, it means a lot.
And you'll be able to follow your nose too, because there's a Chick-fil-A.
Right down the
You
hall
won't
from
be far
Chick-fil-A
from
too.
Chick-fil-A.
These were very strategic moves.
Yes, exactly.
So, but the beauty of that is when you walk in the either suite between Marietta Campus Student Center or Kennesaw Campus Student Center, you'll walk in and everything that's care services sits there. So, of course, the Marietta one is a little bit smaller, but our Kennesaw one, everybody will be in one large suite together. So we're very excited about that. To be a true upstart kind of program, we've come a long way in what's seemingly a very short time.
That's awesome. That's really great. Few other questions. Can you, Carrie, talk, I think you've mentioned it a little bit, but can you talk about internships again a little bit for students who maybe in human services or, another psychology, and they may want to be a part like you did?
So we kind of have like our standards, but like standard roles that we fill for interns, but we're also always open to creative ideas. So we had a student, Emily, in the fall, who we kind of made up an internship for her because she wanted to do higher education. She wanted to go to grad school for student affairs, and so she was trying to get experience in a lot of different types of offices. So that was our first time having a higher education person. So we're really open to it, but our kind of standards are we have our MSWs who serve as the case managers or as programmatic assistants. So last year we had Kristen and Devin who work, and they help with the pantry and the temporary apartments and all of the other programs that we're juggling. So they don't work necessarily one-on-one with the students like the case managers do, but they support all the other things that we're doing, workshop planning and facilitation and all kinds of things like that. And then we usually have communications and marketing interns, and so we've had one a semester for the last 3 or 4 semesters, I would say.
And I would say my preference for those 3 vacant work study positions that we are recruiting for would be communications, marketing type students. Just because of the skill sets, they're going to be managing our social media. So for the skill sets that we're looking for, but that would be our preference. But any student could come in and blow us away.
Yeah, you might just love social media, even if
might
you're
just
not a
love it.
marketing person.
And then one area that we've delved into this year for Gear Up is public health. And that's a bachelor's levels program. So worked with the public health internship coordinator over there. So we have 4 public health interns right now, and should be on deck to take on 5 for the fall for public health. So I would say our primary ones are Masters of Social Work, Bachelors in Public Health majors, Bachelors in Communications, or Public Relation majors. Those are our bread and butter. And the hard thing about CARE for internships, the reason why we only do Masters of Social Work, you're meeting with bachelor level students who go here. I don't want you to have the awkward moment of then you've got to sit beside them in class. So for CARE, they'll only have Masters of Social Work students. But Gear Up, you're dealing with high schoolers. You're off campus half the time. You're going into schools. You're doing group home visits. That can be for sure our public health students, and they're rocking it. They're doing such a good job. But then communication students, I don't care what you get, a master's or a bachelor's. I just want you to be good and know how to do all these things that I did not grow up learning how to do.
Awesome. We have another question.
All right, so we have about 5 minutes left. We have one more question. We want to know if you can talk a little bit about first FAFSA and then scholarship universe, how students can apply for scholarships.
Yes. So, of course, financial aid. If you need to complete your FAFSA, the easiest thing to do is to go to financialaid.kennesaw.edu, because that will give you the opportunity to go straight to our website, and it'll lead you out to the FAFSA website. So you're not Googling it. You want to be able to go straight to the actual FAFSA website. So go to financialaid.kennesaw.edu. And then once you complete that, then our financial aid will receive it, and they'll do their magic and communicate with you really what your balance is as a student and what type of aid that you're going to receive. Scholarship University, that is for external scholarships for students. Kennesaw has set time frames when we offer scholarships. So every year, November 1st, we open up our scholarships for our students, and then they close in March. Our scholarships, internal scholarships for KSU students, it's almost like an umbrella scholarship opportunity. So you'll do one application. That one application is then reviewed, and then determine if you are eligible for those specific scholarships. So you're not having to apply to multiple scholarships, which is really nice for students because you're not being bogged down. There are essay questions a part of the scholarship application, so be mindful of that. I always tell students, write out your essay question in a Word document so that way you can proofread it and then move it into the actual prompt in the scholarship application. And then, of course, Scholarship University is for those external scholarships so you can see what other opportunities you can get for funding your education as a student.
And I would say for the FAFSA, for the emergency assistance part, even if you don't think that you're going to use financial aid, do the FAFSA and have it on hand, because should you get into one of those not so good situations and you need help, the first thing we look at is whether or not you filed your FAFSA. So go ahead and have it on deck even if you don't plan to use it. Plus, I think you might be surprised and get what I call free money. So you just never know what that will look like. So if you're wavering on whether or not to do the FAFSA, just go ahead and do it and have it even if you never touch it.
Yeah, because like you don't know, you can't plan an emergency.
Yeah.
Right.
Emergencies happen, and that's what they all look at. And so our emergency assistance program is directly connected to financial aid.
Awesome. So as we close out, what's one thing you want us to take away from today and about CARE?
Just one.
Just one.
I think that, I hope you can tell how much we love what we do and how passionate we are about our students. But we just our students are amazing, and that's always my one thing I want to tell people is that my students are fantastic and they're amazing, and 9 times out of 10 they're in a situation that they did not put themselves into. The choices were made for them, and so they are just struggling to try and do the best that they can, and they're usually killing it, and just need, you know, just a little bit of help, just, you know, that one, you know, pull up, and then they can do amazing things. And so I think that's what I hope that people understand about the CARE students.
And I think in everything I would agree. I always say they're amazing, they're capable, they're so determined.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is to emphasize is, you know, a lot of people say, well, what did they do wrong?
Yeah.
And I always say 99% of the time, nothing. And, you know, this is an opportunity to give, to show care, to show grace to someone else who deserves it. And if you just make a minimum, small, little investment, our alums can prove to you they more than deserve it, and they're more willing to turn back around and give to those who were in their same seats. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Marcy and Carrie, thank you guys so much. I'm so glad that I got to spend this hour talking with you guys and talking about CARE. We always close out our Facebook Lives with the Hooty Hoo. We normally connect them, but we can't do that anymore, so we're just going to do them in front of our eyes. So we're going to go out with a big Hooty Hoo, guys. Hooty Hoo!